Welcome to The Untold Truth by Joshua Brinkley, a journey through life, resilience, and the power of the mind. My name is Joshua Brinkley, and for the first time, I'm pulling back the curtain on the experiences that have shaped me. From my childhood in Richmond, to navigating middle school and high school, to the adversity that built the man who I am today. On this podcast, we're diving into the story behind the story. You'll hear about my early years, the challenges I faced growing up, and the moments that test my character long before adulthood ever did. We'll talk about my basketball career, the passion, the discipline, the setbacks, and the lessons that the game taught me that I still carry to this very day. And then we'll go deeper. We'll explore psychology, how the mind can work for you or against you, how our thoughts can shape our reality, how trauma, pressure, and self-doubt can hold us back, and how we can rewire ourselves to break through. I'll share real moments, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Times when life wasn't pretty, times when I struggled, times when I made mistakes and had to rebuild. From my short stint of incarceration, to fighting through a misdemeanor charge, to learning who I was and who I wanted to become. And we won't stop there. We'll talk about becoming a business owner, building Richmond Therapeutic Health Services Incorporation, and the trials, failures, and victories that came with entrepreneurship. I'll share the strategies, the mindset, and the gritty reality behind building something from the ground up. This podcast is more than my biography. It's a blueprint. Every story, lesson, and reflection is designed to help someone else. Someone facing adversity, someone trying to find purpose, someone rebuilding, someone chasing greatness but battling the weight of life at the same time. If you've ever faced hardship, if you've ever fallen and had to get back up, if you want to understand your mind and unlock the strongest version of yourself, then you're in the right place. This is my story, but more importantly, this is the story that might change yours. Welcome to The Untold Truth by Joshua Brinkley. Let's get started. Welcome back to The Untold Truth by Joshua Brinkley. In episode 1, I opened up about the beginning of my life, the part that people never saw. I talked about being born in Richmond, growing up in a home filled with conflict, witnessing my parents fight, and learning to survive in an environment that I didn't always feel safe. I shared how the divorce reshaped my childhood, how my mom became my mother and my father, and how the lessons from both parents stuck with me in different ways. I talked about the trauma, the instability, the anger I carried, and the moments that forced me to grow up before I was ready. I even revealed one of the hardest experiences of my life, being molested, and how that left a silent mark on me that I didn't know how to talk about or process at the time. And through all of that, episode 1 was about understanding where my story begins. A kid dealing with pain, confusion, and anger, but still searching for himself, still searching for direction, still searching for something to hold on to. And that leads us to episode 2, where I finally found my outlet, my escape, my structure, and my identity. Basketball. Episode 2 is where the story shifts, from survival to purpose, from anger to focus, from chaos to discipline. It's where I discovered the game that would change my life forever. Sometimes the things that saves you doesn't come in loud. Sometimes it starts off as a distraction, a hobby, or a way to pass time. And before you know it, it becomes your identity, your therapy, and your purpose. For me, that was basketball. Growing up, football was my first love. I played defensive end and tight end. I was super aggressive, super physical, and somewhat disciplined. And I was good. I was actually really good. But in 6th grade, a new sport found its way into my life. That sport was basketball. Not serious, not structured. It was just something to do. At 12 years old, I picked up a basketball for the first time without realizing that this game would eventually shape the direction of my life. At first, football still owned my heart, and basketball was just a side gig. But something was slowly shifting, and I didn't see it yet. By 8th grade, I had shot up to about 6'1" or 6'2". I started dunking in 8th grade, nothing crazy, mostly rim grazers, but enough to know I was built for the sport. So I tried out for the 8th grade basketball team, and I didn't make it. That one hit hard. Rejection hurts differently when you're young. It feels like someone is telling you who you'll never be. For a moment, I wanted to quit the sport entirely. I told myself, Josh, Just stick to football, man. Basketball isn't for you. But something deeper kept me from walking away. Something in me knew that this story wasn't over. At Douglas Freeman High School, everything changed. I made the freshman team, and for the first time in my life, coaches saw potential in me that I didn't see in myself. Sophomore year, I grew again, around 6'3" at this time, and I started getting better, stronger, smarter, faster, and more focused. Basketball became the outlet I needed. I played to release everything that I was carrying internally: the anger, the trauma, the home life, and the silence. I practiced with JV, but I was also practicing with the varsity team. I was being groomed for the next level without even realizing it. Before I could ever become the player people eventually saw on the court, before the dunks, before varsity, before the AAU exposure, before the Division I offers, I had to learn the basics. And that's where Coach Larry Parpart comes in, one of the most important coaches in my basketball journey. See, when I first started playing organized basketball in high school, I had size, athleticism, and raw potential, but I was unpolished, uncoordinated, and clumsy. I was all over the place, and Coach Parpart saw that. He saw that immediately. I remember one of my first practices when I started playing up and practicing with the varsity team. We were running some drills, and as I was sprinting down the court the only way I knew how to, Coach Parpart blew his whistle, and he said, "No, Josh, stop running." I froze. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. He pointed to the baseline. He said, "Get on the line. Let me show you something." And right there in the middle of practice, he broke down the most basic thing any athlete should know how to do: how to run. He said in a very calm manner, "Josh, pick your feet up. If your left knee is up, your right arm should be up. Stay balanced, stay controlled." I had never been coached like that before. Nobody ever slowed the game down enough to show me the fundamentals. People saw my height and assumed I knew everything already. But Coach Parpart didn't assume anything. He taught. He rebuilt my mechanics from the ground up: running, footwork, body control. He told me, before you can use your size and athleticism, you need a foundation. And he gave me that foundation. Without Coach Parpart, I wouldn't have learned footwork. I wouldn't have developed balance. I wouldn't have moved correctly. He wasn't the loudest coach. He wasn't the flashiest, but he was fundamental. He slowed the game down and built me piece by piece until the game made sense. That's something I carry with me today. Before you chase greatness, you have to master the basics. Before you showcase talent, you have to build technique. Before you rise, you must learn how to stand. Coach Parpart paved the way for me in that sense. He helped take a clumsy, unorthodox kid and transform me into a real basketball player, and he deserves his flowers for that. Basketball wasn't just a sport anymore. It became my identity, my therapy, my structure, and my escape. My dad didn't come to any of my high school basketball games, not one. But my mom was at every single game, every tip-off, every drive, every rebound, every basket. I remember times where I would score 30 points and have at least 10 rebounds, and she would say, "Josh, you could have had 40 and 15, but you missed a couple layups and you got lazy on the rebounder." I still carry that mindset with me to this very day. If you think in your mind that you are giving 100%, think again. You can do more, I promise. My mother's presence kept me grounded. Her support added more fuel to the fire, and her love for her son became my drive to work harder at my craft. I started playing AAU basketball with a team that was located in Petersburg, Virginia. Everything leveled up when I joined Petersburg Elite, the AAU brand that is now known as Team Loaded. This was a real program, real competition, and real expectations. And this is where Coach Ty White comes in. Coach White was the first person who truly saw the future version of me. He saw the athlete, the potential, the mindset, and the work ethic. He pushed me. He demanded greatness. He didn't let me be average. And I was surrounded by dogs, real competitors who made me better. Guys like Chris Evans, who went to play at Coastal Carolina and went on to have a successful career overseas. Sedan Reigns, who went on to play at Virginia Tech and is still dominating overseas. Duvon Maxwell, who was a standout at Hampton University, who also had a successful career overseas. Dan Brothers, who just recently got inducted into the Hall of Fame at the University of Richmond. Frank Mason, who played at Kansas and went on to get drafted by the NBA. And many other talented players. These were guys who were either my size, more skilled, bigger, stronger, or more experienced. They tested me every single practice, every drill, and every scrimmage. Iron sharpens iron, and that's exactly what this team was. By my senior year, everything had paid off. I didn't just get better, I became high major good. I had about 10 to 15 Division I scholarships. Me, the kid who didn't make the 8th grade basketball team, the kid who carried all that anger inside, the kid who almost quit the game before it ever even started. Now I was a legit Division I basketball prospect. I took visits to 3 schools: the University of Delaware, which is located in Newark, Delaware; Quinnipiac University, which is located in Hampton, Connecticut; and Hampton University, which is located in Hampton, Virginia. 3 very different schools, 3 different environments, 3 doors that basketball opened for me. I ended up committing to the University of Delaware, decommitting, and then committing again. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do at first. Before I went off to Delaware, I took it up a notch even more. I started having one-on-one workout sessions with former head coach for Randolph-Macon and VCU, Coach Mike Rhodes. Working out with him as a senior in high school and preparing for the next level put all my dreams to play basketball at the next level into perspective. From working out with college coaches to playing in the UVA Top 100 basketball camp to simply going to the gym day in and day out, that really cultivated me into the player I always thought I could be. Basketball wasn't even supposed to be my thing. Football was my first love. Basketball was accidental. But the truth is, basketball saved me. It gave me structure, discipline, confidence, and a future. It gave me a direction during a time where I could have easily went down the wrong road. It turned my anger into fuel, it turned my pain into power, and it turned a broken childhood into something meaningful. Basketball didn't just teach me how to play the game. It taught me how to navigate life. In episode 3, we'll step into the next chapter: college basketball, culture shock, expectations, independence, and the lessons that shaped my young adulthood. We'll talk about the highs and the lows, and the reality of college ball that people don't always see behind the scenes.